Wow, first days. I don't think first days ever change. They don't ever get old. Coaches have anxiety. I saw coaches sweating. Some of our young players, by about period 4, I thought were about to give out. Takes a lot out of them. Here's what I just told them, and I can tell you briefly as far as statement. I thought our effort was really special. That's been a part of this team going back to January and winter workouts. I thought our performance level was inconsistent. It's okay on the first day, but it can't stay that way. Execution kind of goes right along with that. So offensively, I'd like to see our completion percentage change. One of the things that's brought up by us, by you all, and the only way it changes is when we change it. Defensively, if I had to say one thing, we were aggressive, but we gave up too many deep balls. We have to understand that they matter. I like our aggressiveness. I thought we pressured the quarterback well in the team periods. But again, the inconsistencies are the things that we've got to eliminate. So I'll take any questions that you got.
I know you said at several points that Daniel wasn't fully healthy last year. How does he look to you?
Well, he's healthy, which is a big advantage. He threw the ball well. What I think we could do a little better, and you hope you start really strong this way. I wasn't as pleased as I thought I might be with the receivers and quarterback being on the same page. You practice in the summer without a coach. You throw. It's never quite the same, and that's one of the things that we have to continue to push on our players is make practice like a game. So I think we'll gain some consistency there, but just not totally pleased that we were on the same page on all the throws. He threw the ball extremely well, though.
It looked like Chris Kotrinik was taking second string snaps.
Rotating with Quentin. When you're trying to work 4 people, and we want to get Gunnar Holmberg some work as well, when we go split team and we go team periods, we're able to kind of split it up and make sure that you can get 4 people some amount of reps. We'll stop doing that pretty soon because you can't afford. We only have 24 practices left now. And so you can't afford to do it very long. But we're going to continue that a few days.
This is the deepest, most experienced wide receivers group you've had in a while?
I believe it is. It showed out there. Our 3 young ones showed up out there, which is good. One of the things I liked best about our receivers, I think their habits are just naturally really good. I think our older guys have great football habits, and the young ones have displayed the same thing. And I heard our older guys coaching at receiver the whole practice. I'd like to see a little bit more of that all the way across the board.
Coach, we're going to talk about the defense. A lot of people have been focused on your linebackers. How have things been looking there in the secondary, especially health-wise there, too?
Well, I think Joe and Ben, I thought Joe looked better than he did at any time last year. I think he's gained strength and speed. I think Ben looked healthy, which is, I know, what's been important to him. Kobe looks great. He's stronger, quicker. Brandon Hill and his abilities, good to see Xander Gagnon back out there moving around. So, I think we're going to have some surprises. I think our young people at that position are good. We actually, counting our non-scholarship players, have 11 linebackers at practice. There's been times around here where we had 5 or 6. That encourages me for sure. The secondary, there's a lot of competition. We played Michael Carter at corner today. I thought he had a good debut. We've got competition. Mark Gilbert had today what I would have expected out of him, but he's got to continue to be a leader and get better and coach those young ones. But there were a lot of flashes at corner today. I think our safeties are deep. I think Coach Guerrero would love to play multitudes of safeties, and I think we can. Seeing Jeremy McDuffie get work, he's limited to some degree. Leonard Hamilton's a little limited with a hamstring, but I was really pleased to see him go start to finish with the practice. So we got a lot of things to shuffle around defensively. Here's the interesting thing. Defensively, we have 3 scholarship seniors. It's pretty interesting when you feel experienced, and that's what you're looking at.
David, what do you expect from gaining challenges. Does he have a level we haven't seen yet?
I think he has definitely had that. I want to see a consistency. I think if you look at a quarterback, and we have to accept the responsibility as quarterbacks, it measures in a lot of ways, not just when you're looking at him. When your team mentally is part of it, your team has 95 lost yardage plays, including sacks. That's too many to score a lot of points. We can't get points up. I should see Daniel not only playing better, but his role is to make sure we don't have penalties. His role is to minimize sacks himself. His role is certainly to throw and complete balls, but also to make sure that he's on the same page with receivers, or maybe better said, those receivers better be on the same page as he is. So I'm excited. I think you got to play that way as a veteran, and it's my job to push that.
You mentioned the inconsistencies. What are the specifics that you're not seeing where there are inconsistencies?
Sure. I think when we're throwing short to intermediate balls in air drills, it should be 100% completion. That's what major college football teams do. You take it in competition, it's never going to be 100%. But receivers, when you get your hands on the ball, catch it. Quarterbacks getting the ball to an area where they can get their hands on the football. And I'm including tight ends and receivers in that regard. Offensive line working as a fivesome. Looked a lot at our twos because that's where you have to look. There were multitudes of guys that were inconsistent, just steps and getting out of their stance. Want to see the snap be more consistent. That's where you can play the game. Defensively, same thing up front. You got to play every down. If we give up a gap up front and things get fast, those are likely touchdowns against people that you see. Secondary, if you anticipate at corner and you're not playing technique and you're giving up deep balls, well, I saw probably 8 to 10 caught in a competitive circumstance. They can maybe end up touchdowns. Well, that's way too many touchdowns in a game. So those are first day things. I can't wait to watch the film. And I wouldn't say get in their face, but I'm going to get their attention a little bit. Hopefully we see a better result tomorrow.
How are you guys expecting to take advantage of the new redshirt rule?
You know, right now we won't do anything different. I think if you do, you're messing with your whole system. What we do is evaluate our true freshmen, see who's ready to play for a season. If you think you can rotate players, no. Here's where it's going to help, and this was the real intention of the rule from a coaching perspective. As the season wears, we always wish, golly, should we take this guy out of a red shirt? We've got people hurt. We've got, Joe Giles Harris playing 4 special teams and every down. Well, if a freshman by then, game 6, game 7, game 8 is ready to help us, he can help us in special teams. He can back up a player. So what it does is it doesn't take and make you waste a year. And I think it's a player safety rule. You don't put a veteran player at risk. I mean, we all know, I would call them, and I use this term, exposures. Everybody talks about the number of plays. But you really got to view it this day and time as an exposure. How many exposures should a guy have in a game? Nowadays with tempo offensively, you may play 90 snaps. You better think about what your rotation is. I love to create depth in that regard. So we can create depth. Now remember, we still have a 72-man road squad limit. There are things that you're going to work. So that's literally how it's going to work. If somebody figures out how to rotate their whole squad through, and one thing I have to manage our freshmen. If you don't play, it's not the end of the world. We're not declaring you not good enough. It's okay to redshirt completely. Does that make sense? So I want to make sure that they do understand that. It's a player safety rule. That's all it really